Okay, so I have actually three sides done this time, and now I'm going to add a little border onto the bottom, and I want to make sure the towel hangs down from the stove or the cupboard or wherever you're hanging it from. And I want to make sure that these wine bottles actually point up the towel. So I put them the way they're supposed to be and then flip them over. I always do that with when I'm making blocks, when I'm doing whatever. Is I look at it the way it's supposed to be and then flip it. Center it so that there's just a tad on each side, 1/2 inch, and that 1/2 inch comes from the 1/2 inch hems that we made. And then I'm just going to sew it on. 1/4 inch seams. Wasn't exactly centered. Because now what happens is I look and see that's 1/4 inch. So I'm going to pull this out of the way. I'm going to fold this in half, and at the 1/4 inch where this seam comes, which is right here, where the seam comes, I'm going to sew I'm going to sew a line. And then I make a little fix there, just to strengthen it a little bit. This side is a little bit wider, that's not a problem. So I pull it out of the way, fold it up, I notice where it's going to be right there. And it's going to be down straight, so I'm not going to sew it out to 1/4 inch. Right here it's about 5/8, and that's where I'm going to keep it. I'm going to trim a little bit of this excess fabric away from the corner. And then I'm going to turn it. Make sure we get those points out there. And now I'm going to press it. I'm going to press it so that I'm going to press it first this direction. I want that nice and open. And then I'm going to come back in on the back, and I'm going to press this up toward the printed fabric. The reason for that is then when we hem it, all of the raw stuff gets hidden inside. So let's press this open first. Okay, so we have this pressed nice and flat, and I want to pull it the edges so that everything is really taut, because I want to pin it a couple places. I'm folding in the 1/4 inch seam, laying it exactly on this line so that the seam just shows, just shows, because that's going to be my guide. So that's half. This is 1/4, and when we do that like this, do the halfway point first and the 1/4 point next. We could put another pin in it if we wanted to. I think this is good enough. It's only this wide, 20 some inches. Press this, pull this, 1/4 inch. We don't want it to fray. Lay it right on, right so that the seam is showing. And now we're going to kind of fuss with these corners because I want them, fold them down and then over so that they're kind of, they're pretty good. You just want to make sure everything gets tucked in the way it's supposed to. And then I'm going to sew right along the edge. And so this little U in my foot, this is going to lay just on this side of that U so that there's not 2 stitches between where the needle's going and the edge of the fabric. And I'm going to fix it. Now, lay this down. I have this pin so I know where it's supposed to go. I want to lay this down so that I can just see the stitching. And the reason why we're being so careful with that is because it's going to show on the other side. So it's going to show on the right side, and I want it to look as much like I meant to do that as possible. It's not always, it doesn't always come out perfect. And that's how you prove it's homemade. And homemade means something. There we go. Careful, careful, the whole time. I want it right there. And again, I want to make sure that this is good, and that I'm not going to have a big tuck. Which is going to happen if I'm not paying attention to having this nice and taut the whole way. I get to the end and there's more on the top, or there's more on the bottom, and that doesn't lay flat. There we go. And ta-da! How cute is this towel? One more and I will have towels for my friend.